So we are in Third Eye Month, which is very much about being able to see through or cut through illusion and delusion. And self-deception is a real thing. And that's something that when we're conditioned our entire lives, it's really from the time that we're born, but it's even before that. Epigenetics is proving a lot of things now, how our ancestry is encoded, that everything that our ancestors experienced has been flipped on in us through specific gene expression. And how that shows up, it can be particular instincts, like things that you have a talent for, a penchant for something. That's why it's like, oh, my great-grandfather was an artist, and that this art gene has kind of been passed down through, that's something that epigenetics will have. It's also why you have epigenetically addiction. That's why you see that, oh yeah, I have addiction in my family. There's alcoholism in my family. There's gambling in my family. There's a lot of, we have, low-level chronic depression, chronic anxiety. These are all things that, as I contemplate where I have come from, you could maybe see a map of where you think you're going, and that self-deception could also be not just the ways that you think you're holding yourself back from who you're meant to become, but by telling yourself stories by where it is that you've come from. That, well, there's really no hope for me, or there's this, genetic expression that I can't escape. And if we see that this is this filter that we've been projecting on ourselves, and that we look through ourselves and our life through this lens of what it is that we are destined for, or what we think we cannot escape, that is a quality of self-deception. Well, we recognize that if you want to change and you're genuinely open to it, you can change anything about yourself. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how embedded and encoded in you think this is. There's a really powerful book, and I just know the story of her. I haven't read it yet, but my teacher read it and passed it on and basically told me the story of it. This woman, she's an Indian woman, and the name of the book is Dying to Be Me. She had been told from the time that she was born, you are basically going to die of cancer. You are, like, this cancer genes are in your family. There's cancer on every side. There's cancer through everything. You will die of cancer. So doctors and everything, they had the resources, they had everything that they could do. By the time she was in her 30s, she was, hospitalized on hospice, like, okay, fighting multiple rounds of cancer, and basically that was it. Okay, here I am. I'm dying of cancer, because that's what my family, that's what my gene expression is. That's all there is to it. And then she died while she was in the hospital on hospice. Organ failure. It was just a very, very clear thing. While she was dead, in that in-between space, she left her body and then saw it. Oh, that was all my conditioning. It was all energetics. It was all what my family projected. It was all what I projected. And I manifested that. And now my body is free of the cancer because I'm out of it. Well, what if I want to come back and I'll be cancer-free? And she did. She descended, connected to her body again, started waking up, and made a complete recovery. All of her organs started working again. Everything started coming back. Her body is completely free of cancer. She wrote this book. And then and now is saying, it's like, this is what our potential and this is what our reality could be. Now that's why the title, Dying to Be Me. Some part of you has to fully and totally die in order to allow the new real expression of who you actually are is to come through. Our genes hold a lot of secrets, and they hold a lot of information about who it is that we can become and where it is that we have come from. I mean, understanding our ancestry and our lineage is a big part of it. As we start to go into the crown, it's a connection to something much greater than you. It's a connection to your ancestry. It's a connection to lineage. It's a connection to community outside of yourself and where it is that you've come from. And when we recognize that we have opportunities to actually change this, it's really quite profound. And that's so many of the shamanic technologies, and that's what this energy medicine that people are understanding. Shamans have understood it for years. You are not what you think you are. We are a lot more, and we are a lot more powerful than we ever recognize. And it's through the power of visualization and through the power of what it is that we say that we are co-creating our realities. So if you are continuing to repeat the same stories and the same genetic expressions or the same aspects of your past, you're going to create that reality. It's like, okay, if you spend your entire life being afraid of something, you're most likely attracting it to you over and over and over again by visualizing worst case scenarios, visualizing these things coming to pass. It's like it's just a matter of time. Well, if that's what you're waiting for, then most likely you're going to manifest it. In the end, when we see, oh, wait a second, if I see it and I catch it and I start to do something different, do I believe that it's possible? Now we have to start redirecting over and over and over again. If you have these lifetime habits or these instincts that have been passed, it's very hard to break a lifetime pattern of something. And especially if you've seen it, like in my family, we came through on both sides of my family. I have alcoholics, drug addiction, gambling, depression, anxiety. It's like it's all there. If I just were to accept where it is that I've come from, then I would accept that all of these things are my reality, that is what is going to come to pass, period. I may as well not even bother trying to do something different because, well, there's that. It's a lot easier to kind of fall into that. When I discovered the yogic practice and shamanic technologies where they said, well, actually, it's really a matter of what you choose to do, and that as we start breaking through these samskaras, a samskara in the yogic tradition and in the shamanic tradition is something that you have done, that you continue to do, that has crystallized some form of a pattern in your aura, in your energy, so we're creating, and then our auras are broadcasting. So it's like what it is that we're broadcasting, someone else's is going to hook into, and then both of you have something to express, and then that's what is going to create. That's why, alcoholics and adult children of alcoholics tend to co-create codependency and enabling patterns. So, okay, we find the hook, we find that person, we hook back in, we re-traumatize. And then we wonder why. It's like, why are we doing this again? Because we're trying to heal the past, but we don't really know where it's on an unconscious level that we're attracting this to us and that we're trying to heal the past. So how do we see then what's the potential of something different? First, you have to see that there's patterns. So when you see that you have samskaras, you see that these are patterns. These are patterns of existence. The first time anybody ever said the word codependent to me, it was like sliding across the table. Hey, here's this book, Codependent No More. I opened it up and was horrified to see my entire family, all of the women of my entire family, like, that's my mom, that's my grandmother, that's my aunt, this is my... I was like, I'm codependent? I'm creating these things? Yes. But then, on the one hand, I was horrified to see these samskaras. On the other hand, I was relieved. Oh, it's a pattern. Oh my God, I'm not unique. Wow, I thought it was just like me. I thought that this was my nature. I thought that this was always going to be what I had to do in order to be in relationship. No, you can totally recreate yourself. You can absolutely change. And it's a liberation on one hand and terrifying on the other, because now you know better. You have to do something different. People in your life who are a part of these enmeshed, circles, they don't want you to change. In fact, they're very invested in you not changing. So first, you have to see, where are we stuck? What are the samskaras that we have? What are the ways that we have co-created these situations? And now to do something different, if you think of it like a record, your old samskaras are the groove. That's the message we've been playing. That's the story we've been telling. That's what it is that we want to do. The more you play it, the deeper the groove gets. Emotionally, neurologically, these are neural patterns and pathways that we have tread over and over and over again. To create something different in the yoga process is to catch it, pick the needle up out of that groove, and put it into a new groove. The new groove is going to take time to become your new normal. It's going to take time for that to become an integrated part of your personality. What happens usually is that we start playing the new tape. Okay, we're playing this new tape. Wonderful. What happens as soon as you get challenged? Usually the first time, right back into the old pattern. Why? It's just established more. If you've done something 100,000 times and now you've done something 100 times, what do you think is going to take over when you kind of lose, steam a little bit? The thing that you've done for 100,000 times, not 100. So in order to create this new pattern, you have to be willing to infuse yourself with unconditional loving presence and forgiveness. Every time you slide back into that old pattern, the faster you can catch it and move yourself into that new groove again, the more embedded it will become in your psyche and your consciousness. But it takes time. So as you're physically practicing, notice what's happening, what's coming up, what's the quality of your presence, what's the quality of your thoughts, what's going on in your life. I only get you for an hour. It's easy for me to redirect you when we're here. When you're outside, that's something that in order to bear witness to the larger context of what your practice can give you, you have to be willing to see it then in the peripheral as well. How are you being affected by your practice in the peripheral? How can we bring our practice outside of the physical? It's easy when we're in a container to stay focused. When we're outside of it is the key. So in your practice, let's set some intention to receive whatever insight we need to, and then carry it through the week. First, just carry it through the day. Then see if you can carry it through the week. Then it becomes a carrying through the month. Then it will become a part of carrying through your life. Days or months or weeks of practice will give you something. Years of practice will be more. You can rewrite very long-held patterns, but it will take time. The yogic process is a slow one, and it's designed to be that way because, you're going to be alive for a while, we hope, and it really gives you the tools to connect and continue to make this slow, steady progress. You can blow yourself open sometimes and see a whole bunch of things and get overwhelmed. So instead of getting overwhelmed with all the things that you see that have to change and how are you going to get there, come back to the moment, be in your body for that breath, be in your body for that moment, make a compassionate choice to do something different. Over and over again. It will take time. And it's just that's what we're all going to be in this process with together. So in your practice today, let's close our eyes and come inside. And first just reflect. Sometimes we think we come here for something, and then we get exactly what we need. So if we're feeling into why we're here today, let's first notice what the body is feeling, and then notice if they're in alignment. As you ground down through your seat, we feel a gentle connection to your core. Hug your navel back and lift out of your lower back. We can maintain that sense of lifting up. We feel your sternum rising up. Give the shoulders a little roll and release them down away from the ears. Wherever your hands are resting, we can leave them. If you'd like to be open to grounding and connecting more to your body, turn your palms facing down and rest them on your thighs. If you're open to receiving more subtle information, turn your palms facing up. Lightly connect the tip of the thumb and the forefinger together, forming Jnana Mudra. This is the mudra of self-awareness. As we get grounded, lifting taller, unhinge your jaw. Feel a soft opening in the crown of the head. Your eyes are gently closed, but if you feel you have to force them shut, don't. Softly focus on a boring spot in front of you. Eventually, your eyes will close on their own. Witness your body from head to toe, your qualities of energy, of how you've slept, your digestion, what we see. So you cultivate witness without judgment. We will see more clearly every time we attend to the practice. Why are you here? What do you need? What do you need to see in yourself? As you inhale, flood all the way down to the pelvic floor. Exhale and gush it out. Letting go of any hiding behind the veil of yourself. And continue. Let's take a few deep breaths just like that. If you want to sound or sigh, honor it. A few more times. Last one. And start to layer in your deep ujjayi breathing. Your ujjayi is an oceanic sound, keeping the mouth closed, constricting the throat on the inhales and the exhales. The same muscles that you use when you whisper, or if you're trying to fog up a mirror. This breath will keep you very focused and present. And any time throughout the class, if you are straining, your breath will suspend or you're clenching, and we come back to that deep ujjayi. It'll help you to burn and move through. We see where we are. Without judgment in this moment, we set our collective intentions to see ourselves even more clearly. What do we need to shift, to transmute, to grow? We open to understand that it takes time. We cultivate patience and compassion to do something different. We'll open the practice and we join our energy together by chanting Om 3 times. Inhale deeply for Om.